religion or religious views one should confine to oneself. He can even propagate his religion, why not? But tolerance is important. Tolerance, we should not be critical to other religions or offending religious sentiments of others. So secularism theory stands for peace. In the case of Kashmir, after that era, medieval era, times of Lalla Ishwari and Sheikh Nuruddin, their poetry, always we see relevant. Then our progressive poets have played a commendable role. Because medieval poetry we see otherworldly, no doubt, and control of nafs amara, means control of desires. Human being चाहता है वो भी तो इन sages ने हमें क्या सिखाया? Our Professor Ishaq Khan has worked, and one should enjoy his book Kashmir's Transition to Islam, in which he is highlighting the role of the Reshi movement, Shaikh-ul Aalam. When progressive poetry started in 1935, we in history call that it started with Ghulam Ahmad Mahjoor, when he wrote the first poem, Grease Core, in which he highlighted the agonies of the working classes, especially the peasantry. And then we had a good number of progressive poets. It added a further dimension. I mean that our tradition of composite culture in Kashmir continued. Sometimes you see it was founded, it had of course originated since long, but Lalla Ishwari and Shaikh-ul Aalam, they refreshed it. That is my point. And then these progressive poets, which were of course fascinated by the Bolshevik revolution and Indian nationalism, Indian national movement, among them you see Mahjoor, Ghulam Ahmad Mahjoor. No knowledge you see of English books, philosophy, but we see Mahjoor well versed in socialism and secularism when we come across his poetry. And where from? He had learned all that, perhaps from the history of Kashmir. And when we come across his verses, they represent both socialism and secularism.
Today, globally, throughout the world, whole world is in search of peace and tranquility, for a sound social order and sound social system. Same is to be achieved in an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. You can never think of peace, never talk of harmony, never talk of mutual coexistence and relationship and the harmony that exists between communities and civilizations, that exists between individuals, that exists within the self of an individual itself. Never possible unless and until you refer to some amount of peace and tranquility that has to be developed within your own self. It has become, in fact, an advanced discourse to discuss the significant components of peace vis-a-vis its relevance in the contemporary world, almost become an advanced discourse in the contemporary academic activity throughout the globe, so as to reshape our intellectual heritage, worldview, value system, and many more things that are connected with the concept of peace itself. Some of the prominent significant components that from the very inception of the history and from the coming of the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these prominent components have been this way or that way useful in consolidating the concept of peace so as to inculcate in our own self and in our own vision to make a social order that is compatible to the requirements of 21st century youth. It's only possible because of that. Some of the components that I would like to refer to, that the march of scholars, the far of lands, establishment of prominent institutions, khanqahs and madrasas, and then dissemination of knowledge and learning, and finally, the mystic journeys of the prominent Sufis and the silsilas. This encouraged, in fact, studies on peace in the contemporary world with a special view to make it more compatible to our young generation. Globally recognized works of prominent scholars and distinguished authors like that of Maulana Rumi, Maulana Jami, Sheikh Saidi Shirazi, Imam al-Ghazali, and many more, Ali al-Hijweri. These are the people who are globally recognized, besides the other contributions, who had made an everlasting contribution to the very concept of peace and tranquility that's to be developed within a social order, wherever it is, it is developed. The Sufi silsilas of Kashmir, at the same time, not only the globally, global contributions, globally the acknowledged scholars and their works, even for that matter the Sufi silsilas and the rishis of Kashmir, like that of Shaikh-ul Aalam, Lal Ded, Mullah Bahauddin Naqshband al-Bukhari, Mirza Akmaluddin Badakhshi, and many more, who had made an everlasting contribution to the concept of peace and tranquility. These are some of the scholars. They have not only been the torch bearers of acculturation, tolerance, and communal harmony in the times of cultural polarization and religious animosity, but have been in fact creates the bonds of human integration to realize the dream of oneness of mankind and universality of human culture. This is in fact these institutions and the scholars who had extraordinarily contribution, besides other components, other concepts that are otherwise required for a sound human system, sound human social order. They have in fact reported these perspectives and concepts to be included, to be imbibed, and then to be communicated to the generations of after generations, so as to establish an order that is more conducive to the verses of Holy Quran and the sayings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Religious, secrets of all time, major world religions, with special reference to Islam, that advocate, in fact, the promotion of peace and tranquility by all means, by all efforts. Whatever the theories, whatever the perspectives, whatever the concepts that have been promoted, that have been introduced by scholars, they all refer to this way or that way, only these type of concepts. One thing that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has rightly referred to, al-mu'minu man aminnahu nas ala dimaihi amwalihi. A true Muslim is one who protects the life and the blood and the property of others, other people, not Muslims, other people, without any discrimination of caste, creed, color, sex, birth, and nationality. If he does it, he's a true believer, he's a true Muslim, without taking anything into cognizance. How all this will happen? This is what I had referred to earlier also. The George Bernard Shaw, mostly recognized throughout the globe by virtue of his contribution that he has made. He says, if you are at peace with yourself, you can never be at war with others. To develop peace within your own self, that is the significant component of everything that had happened during all these 11 days. To develop peace within yourself, that will in fact make you peaceful and loving creature of Allah, living for everybody and every humanity. Whatsoever has been created, the first thing is only that you have to be peace. You have to, identify peace within your own self, and that self will make the realization of peace in subsequent components that are otherwise required for a sound social order and sound social system.
So we know that Islam is embodiment of all the universal ethical values. Whether we talk of accommodative spirit, we talk of composite culture, we talk of communal harmony, we talk of justice, we talk of deep humanism, tolerance. So everything is there. So all these values, universal ethical values, they are within the framework of Islamic Sharia. In fact, we find that Islam advocates for vertical peace with the Creator, that is Khaliq, and horizontal peace with the makhluk, that is what we call as, which is component of hukukullah and hukukul ibad. Vertical peace with the Creator, who is our Creator, who is the Creator of all the universe, not to talk of only human beings. And then horizontal peace, that is hukukul ibad, our relations with the fellow human beings, irrespective of caste, color, creed, geographical location, and other parameters. So we find that various dimensions and interpretations of peace were covered in these 10 days. This is the 11th day. We are here today in the valedictory session. I feel that such programs are in tune in letter as well as spirit, so far as the new education policy or national education policy 2020 is concerned. And I think that in the policy, we are having discussions, meetings, workshops everywhere throughout India. So different components of the new education policy 2020 are being debated upon, are being discussed, and we find that now a new draft of the guidelines have come up. So maybe there will be some more change. So therefore, I find that this program, it is in tune, in letter and spirit with the new education policy 2020. So that is because there is much focus on the multidisciplinary approach. We have not confined ourselves to that discipline to which we belong. So therefore, we have to get acquainted with the trends which are emerging in the contemporary world. The world is dynamic. We have to be dynamic. We have not to be static. So therefore, that dynamism can only come if we open ourselves for other disciplines. We try to learn from other disciplines also and acquaint ourselves with the other disciplines also.
You can be a true human being by knowing your own self. At that time, I didn't understand much what it means to be knowing yourself, because I was just 12 years old. But something stuck in my mind, and I started searching and listening him more and more. Then I realized this something is deep inside every human heart, regardless of the religion, regardless of the caste, systems, borders. Every single human being on the face of this earth has a power inside of the heart. We can call it with different names. We can call it divine, we can call it Allah, we can call it Bhagwan, anything, or we can call it energy, supreme energy that is spread in whole universe. Like sun. Sun is giving the light to all. He doesn't discriminate anything. Even plant is growing because of sun. We are living because of the sun. Same is the supreme power. He is giving his power, his love, his care to all human creation. Not all human creation, but all the creations of the universe, of this planet Earth. His talks unite the people. Something is very, very wonderful in his speech, and he created the peace education program. That is 10 sessions curriculum based upon the core human values like peace, appreciation not for others but for your own existence. Appreciate your life, appreciate that you are here in the present moment, because we do not know how much we are going to live. One day we are not here and one day we will not be here. Third topic is inner strength. We have a power inside of the heart. When we discover it, we can face any situation. Is this like something you have seen that in 2006 there was tsunami happened in India. At the I saw in the video that few trees in that wave are also, they didn't plug down. They was still there. Why? Because their root was so deep in. They faced the tsunami and they survived. Same as with human being. If you are deep rooted in your heart, you can face any calamity, any conflict not just outside, but conflict that happens inside of the mind. That is the worst conflict. Fourth is self-awareness. Aware about the self, who we are, what are our purpose, what is the meaning of the today, what is the meaning of the time that we have been given. Are we wasting the time, or we are utilizing the time for our own development and for others? Because we are not animal, we are human being. Human being means Do something good for yourself and do good for others. If you are not doing good for others, I'm sorry, but you can't be a human being. You are just you have a human body, but you are not a human being. Fifth is clarity, to be clear about life. Understanding, to understand each and every moment. Clarity, understanding, dignity. Do we feel dignity when we have we do not have the branded clothes? We do not have a big car or big house? We feel low in our life. We feel low in our, that we are low, we are, but do we really feel dignified of being just alive? I'm talking to you because I'm alive. The breath is coming inside of me. It is keeping me alive. Being alive is a big thing. It's not a simple thing, it's a big thing. Because if the breath is not coming in me, I'm just a part of the dust. My body will decompose within few days. And then is a choice to choose wisely. Choose peace over chaos. Choose peace over war. Choose clarity over confusion.